Question 98. Do you believe that monkeys came from fish? You have used two separate, non-scientific terms when talking about biology. But okay. The last time we talked about this video, it was ostensibly 50 questions for atheists, but really it ended up manifesting as 25 questions with their redundant follow-ups. This is not me trying to be a dick. This is just kind of the reality of how the video was presented. So if y'all don't remember that, well, we'll go ahead and get right into those questions here in a sec. But as y'all know, before we can do that, we have to get into the fan art section. So the first bit we have here is a piece by Karamba. As usual, it is not given with any type of information or context, but I'm not gonna lie. This looks like I'm trying to do that thing that Gruntilda the Witch did at the beginning of Banjo-Tooie, where she just creates a green electrical ball and just executes bottles. Just tries to kill Mumbo Jumbo and just straight offs bottles in a children's video game. So, I mean, this channels that energy for me. The next one we have is from Mathematical Cabbage, who is also responsible for the bobbly head GF Suris that is being used over there. Mathematical Cabbage is also responsible for one of the emotes, the bouncing Suris emote, if people want to spam that in the chat right now. But this is unamused / bored Pony Suris, or possibly exasperated Pony Suris. You decide. You decided the emotion of Pony Suris. Oh my gosh. With that said, let's go to the last one. This one is from a Raging Horse Girl. Tried my hand into fan art. Well, you tried your hand and it worked wonderfully. I especially I like the replacement of my usual nose with like just a little animal nose, little snoot. It's very cute. It is very cute. As always, everyone, thank you all for your fan art submissions. And if you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the last questions from that particular video. This video is from a user called Erasmus, and I don't mean this to sound bad when I say it, but I sincerely hope that the latter 50 questions are a little better than the first 50 questions. So we ended on the 50th question. What is your evidence that Jesus wasn't crucified? We talked about the whole point that you're not trying to prove a negative. You are presenting a claim. Jesus Christ was crucified on a cross. You need to bring forth evidence of that claim, and then I respond to that evidence, not point out all the ways in which it did or didn't happen. Burden of proof is on the claimant, not on the person who is accepting the information. Liskaday Babbitt, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an you fucking monster. The 51st question. Why did it bounce to 52? Fuck. Why do you reject the resurrection of Jesus? So, I don't reject the resurrection of Jesus. I just don't believe that it happened. I guess that is technically a rejection. Okay, let's put it this way. I don't have evidence that people come back from the dead. And when I say dead, I mean full-on brain dead, heart has stopped, the body has started the stages of decomposition. Like, once we've got to those points, like rigor mortis has set in, the blood is coagulating, we don't generally bring things back from that state. So why do I reject it? We'll just go ahead and say I don't have a reason to accept it. Based on all the evidence we have about how bodies work, I don't have a reason to. It's kind of simple as that. Now we can actually get to question 52, because it just farked up a little bit there. Question 52, where is your evidence that he didn't rise from the dead 3 days later? Okay, cool. We've got this thing where you've asked the same question twice. You're just not understanding how evidence works. So, when you are trying to prove that somebody, let's do it like it's a crime, okay? Let's do it like it's a crime. If you are a defendant, your lawyer has two jobs with a crime. One, establishing an alibi, showing that you could not have done a crime, and two, dismissing the evidence that is brought to you as inconsequential or insufficient to determine, your guilt. So the evidence, let's do this both ways. First, we'll go with the evidence. Right now, the evidence that a person can come back from the dead is nightmarishly lacking. Two, the evidence that specifically Jesus Christ came back from the dead is nightmarishly lacking. I don't have a reason to believe that it happened, and if it did happen, then it's very awkward that an omniscient God would have chosen such an unbelievable thing to be shown to a literal handful of people, and that be the evidence for the entire world, almost as if the people who wrote the story had no scope for how big the world actually was. As if, you know, a random guy coming back in the Middle East was going to be enough for now 7.6 or 8.2 maybe billion people in the entire world. So for me, there's a lack of evidence there. Lack of evidence, A, that it happened, and B, that an omniscient God would have chosen such a nightmarishly stupid way of actually communicating that to us. Now let's talk about Jesus's alibi. Where was he in BC 000? Now we run into a sort of Christ mythicism type of deal. I'm not a mythicist, but there is enough evidence to show, or there is enough lack of evidence of public records for Jesus's execution alone that the evidence of a rise from the dead 3 days later is going to run into problems. If we can't even establish that the execution took place, then the rising from the dead 3 days later kind of falls alongside it. It kind of falls away with it. Rosalind Faye, thank you very much for redeeming your points for Hydrate. And before God has chosen the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. Ah, yes. God literally showing in the Bible that he does not understand the human psyche that he himself created. Wow. What an impressive feat. Question 53, why do you deny the existence of Jesus but accept the existence of Muhammad? So, most historians do not deny the existence of Jesus. Jesus, a person of which the cult of Christ or cult of Christ was founded upon, is not something that most historians deny. I don't deny it either. The fact that there was a Jesus, even a Jesus of Nazareth, is not something that I actually have issues with. Now, why would it be more acceptable than, more or less acceptable than Muhammad? Unfortunately, when we're talking about someone like Muhammad, we're talking about a character who is a little closer to modern day in terms of like the distance from when it happened to now. And again, there's a plethora of evidence that Muhammad existed. Also, Jesus exists inside the mythos of Islam as well. So I feel like when you point out something like this, if this is your question, then it feels like you misunderstand that religion while trying to defend your own, which feels kind of awkward. Do I celebrate Christmas? As question number 54. And yes, I do. I celebrate Christmas because there's a lot of positive attributes associated with Christmas that I still like, despite me no longer being a Christian. One of the biggest ones is the idea of, you know, good joy and merriment between individual people who have disparate political beliefs, disparate nationalities, even might be on completely different sides of the globe. But the idea that we all come together for a little bit to just, even if it's just playing pretend, just enjoy ourselves and exist in the human experience for a little bit. That's a big thing to me. I like that. The fact that there are a ton of people who celebrate some type of holiday on Christmas means that I will be celebrating that, even if it's not necessarily the resurrection or the birth of Christ that I'm caring about. Question 55 is, did you know that Christmas is a Christian holiday commemorating the birth of Jesus? Yes. I'm not going to bring forth the usual response here, talking about the assimilation of Yule and its traditions into Christmas. I don't think I need to do that. Pretty much everybody understands that, right? Everybody knows about like the whole Christmas tree thing and how that's been yanked away from pagans. Like, we get that? Okay, cool. I don't need to use it as a bludgeon. That's not fair to people who are pagan. So, yes, I do know that Christmas, as celebrated by modern-day Christians, is supposed to commemorate the birth of Jesus. My response to that is, neat. I don't care. There's a ton of different holidays that are celebrated around Christmas time. I could literally just pick and choose my reasons to be happy. But let's go ahead to question 56. Do you say Merry Christmas? Yes. This feels like I'm on Fox News for a second here. Whenever I see this, do you say Merry Christmas? Did you say Happy Holidays? Yes? Or communist? This feels very much like somebody regurgitated an Alex Jones or Fox News talking point. Not that there's much of a difference between those two these days. Let's go ahead and go to 57. Why do you want to prevent people from saying Merry Christmas? I don't. Christians want to celebrate the birth of Christ? Fine. I have no problem with that. No shadow banging. I didn't say that. I did not say those words, but I'm going to have to because you decided to drop 50,001 channel points like a fucking degenerate. I swear to God, you and people like you are the reason the Crusades happened. All of you. I'm kidding. Not really. Now, do I mean I'm not really kidding, or do I mean that you're not really the reason the Crusades happened? Who knows? I'm certainly not going to give you context. Instead, I'm going to be forced to say the goddamn fucking shit. And nobody's got a shield. Nobody's got a shield, so I guess I'm fucked. Fine, shadow banging. You win. Oh, never mind. Never mind. You don't win. Crazy Neko Girl came in with a shield. For those who are watching on YouTube and do not have context for this, it takes 50,001 channel points to make me say the terrible fucking words, and then it takes 50,002 channel points to shield them with the OWO shield. And channel points are just free things that are given out on Twitch by just watching. Also, Shadow Bangin' and Aura Echoes both dropped in 2 separate ones to fight back. It's a fucking war. What is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? Purple Kobold forced me to say oh well, which is fine. What was based. And then there's Shadow Bangin' here with I might win forcing me to say oh well. And then Aura Echoes at 2. Aura, you really? Saf Wolf yourself forcing me to say it as well. What the hell is wrong with you? You've been watching my channel far too long to betray me this way. Why would you do this? I can't trust anything that you do ever from now on. I know which side of the conflict you're on. Fine, Aura Echoes, you get yours too. Oh well. I sincerely hope that one day you will end up sad and without terrible words from Twitch streams to give you comfort. Dare Merito, thank you for the stretch, and Rosalind Faye, thank you very much for the hydrate. Glad you're only a few points away from another one. Gee, MC Poto, what the fuck? We got 50 questions to get through, and you're doing this shit? Jesus fucking Christ. 50,001 channel points dropped by MC Poto to force me to say it as well. Why? Why do all of you choose to be on the wrong side of history? This is a willing thing. You are willingly doing this. Oh, whoa. No. That's it. We're done. No more of that. You realize I can raise the cost of those arbitrarily, right? Wind Dragon, what the fuck? Why? Why? Oh, whoa. I feel tired and used up. You're gonna make me choke on my nuggies. I'm gonna make Wind Dragon, MC Poto, Aura Echoes, and especially Shadow Bangin' choke on nuggies. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyways, let's go to the next one. I don't want to prevent people from saying Merry Christmas. I just don't care. Question 58. Why do you want to force people to say Happy Holidays? Nobody does this. Nobody does this. Okay, so person who made the video, I hope you know that the war on Christmas narrative was something that Henry Ford started back when he was being particularly anti-Semitic. I sincerely hope you understand that as you point this shit out. Also, MC Poto, what the fuck? I will find you. I will find you. and I will inconvenience you. You will find your shoes tied together with a little bit of thread so that they don't trip you, but there's an audible snap when you walk. When you are trying to cook food, MC Poto, I am going to make sure that it is ever so slightly burnt by turning up your heating element by like a notch or two. It's going to be terribly inconvenient, but also well-deserved. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. I will swap out all of the chocolate in your house for slightly stale pieces so that you get that weird chalky texture on the outside and you can't explain it. Okay, but I don't want to force people to say happy holidays. I don't care. Now, granted, there is functionally no problem with saying happy holidays, but the narrative that people are trying to force others to say happy holidays is not exactly true. Now, however, if a business tells its employees to say happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas, that I also don't care about, generally speaking. And the reason for that is that business can choose not to or to support something that is strictly religious. If you want to fight ridiculously hard for the non-secularization of, you know, the Christmas holiday, then sure, I'm perfectly fine with you to fight that fight. But hopefully at the same time, you can understand businesses not necessarily wanting their employees to engage in religious rhetoric while on the clock. Then again, it also doesn't really matter. I don't want to force people to say happy holidays. I just don't care about that much. Vagary, thank you for redeeming your points for you fucking monster. Everybody says I'm out of channel points. Yeah, and you're also out of bread because I took all of it except for one slice. Congratulations. You have to deal with a folded sandwich now instead of a full one. Like I said, you will be slightly inconvenienced for the rest of your life. Let's go ahead and get to question 59. Do you celebrate Easter? Yeah, I totally like Easter eggs. Did you know that Easter is a Christian holiday commemorating the resurrection of Jesus? Yes. Did you know that Easter, like Christmas, has been sufficiently secularized so as to be celebrated by Christians and non-Christians alike? And I can celebrate it for the reasons that I like it for, and then you can celebrate it for the reasons you like it for, and nobody has to give a shit elsewise. Let's go ahead and get to 61. Do you say God bless you when someone sneezes? No, I just say bless you. And it's mainly because it's a force of habit and it's easier to say than Gesundheit. Why do you want people not to say bless you when someone sneezes? I don't. How much God's Not Dead have you watched on repeat? This feels like somebody's just been watching PureFlix films and has gotten their idea of what an atheist is based purely on the straw men presented in those films. Did you know that Kevin Sorbo's character that he played in the first God's Not Dead is not actually how an atheist acts 99% of the time? Question 63. Why do you want to take prayer out of school? I don't want to take... Okay, so define take prayer out of school, because prayer's never been taken out of school. Children have been allowed to pray at school since, you know, schools in America. There's literally no school that I can think of that tells kids not to pray outside of, like, individual teachers being fucknuggets. I also don't want to take prayer out of school. If a kid wants to pray in school, that's fine. Believe me, that kid probably needs it. They're failing their fucking test because their parent made them read the Bible instead of their math homework. Believe me, I do not have any problem with a person praying. It doesn't bother me, literally at all. Question 64, should a teacher be fired for talking about God in their class? Fired? Maybe not. Reprimanded? Most definitely. So here's the thing. It does depend. If a teacher says they're a Christian, cool, interesting. It really does depend on the context. If the teacher tries to proselytize to the kids, starts trying to preach to them, telling them about their religion, telling them that they need to follow it or they're going to burn in hell, things like that. Yeah, at that point, that teacher should be reprimanded. At that point, that teacher should be disciplined, because at that point, they are now engaging in indoctrination, and that is not something that the parents nor the children have consented to. If you want to go with the narrative that the teacher is just trying to save the children from hellfire, then my question to you would be, do you feel the same way about a Muslim teacher? If a teacher is Muslim and is trying to convert people to their particular brand of Islam, Do you hold the same thoughts and feelings towards them? Do you think they should be just as free to indoctrinate children as Christians should be? I think both of them should be equally disallowed from doing so. Question 65, should a teacher be fired for talking about Jesus in their class? I mean, it depends. How are they talking about Jesus? Are they proselytizing? Are they trying to preach? Or are they merely saying that they follow Jesus? Or are they talking about the historical context in which Jesus existed? You don't have to have a hard stance here. It's literally just, what is the context? Ask the teacher, and then ask the child and the other children in the class in what ways the teacher was talking about Jesus. There's plenty of acceptable ways to do it that don't lead you down the line of indoctrinating kids into a faith. Question 66, should a teacher be fired for talking about Muhammad in their class? Please see my answers to the last two questions. They are all exactly the same. Question 67, if the answer to the last one was no, why is Muhammad okay but Jesus isn't? So first of all, let's go ahead and point out that the Shadow Wolf, thank you very much for the tier 1 subscription. I greatly appreciate it. So the answer for me is they are both equally wrong. If you are talking about one actually, there's the thing that's got to be talked about here too. Hold on. There's a small difference here. One, I hold all of the same responses as I did before. Like, all those are still relevant. But two, Jesus's position in the Christian faith is very different than Muhammad's position in Islam. Jesus's position is not only that of a prophet, but also that of a piece of God. Like, Jesus is literally God. He is worshipped. In Islam, Muhammad isn't worshipped. Muhammad is venerated, but he's not worshipped. It is probably more likely to talk about Muhammad in a historical sense, but it is also very likely, if you're talking about Jesus, that the idea of worship is going to come up, because again, unlike Jesus, Muhammad's not a character to be worshipped. I think that he's a terribly immoral person to follow the example of, dating a 6-year-old and then doing the nasty with her at the ripe old age of 9 years old is a little bit yikesy for me. I would hope it's yikesy for you. But just talking about him in a historical context, it's okay for Jesus and Muhammad. But it is more likely that you'll be talking about Muhammad in a historical context. One, he's more recent. Two, especially here in America, he's not really the religion of the nation. So, I mean, it's just kind of reality. There was also people who misunderstood Muhammad's importance to Islam who came up with the name Baphomet, which was a corruption of Muhammad's name, became the name for the devil. Yeah, this feels very much like somebody just gargled Fox News. Remember, it's not love if they spit. Question 68, why do you want to censor opinions you disagree with? So it depends on the opinion. And I don't really think censoring is the right word, but I am okay with deplatforming. I don't think you should be barred from saying certain things, but I think you should be barred from being hosted on certain platforms where you can magnify those things. You can say something in the middle of a public square. That's perfectly fine. Be careful how close to terrible rhetoric you get. Somebody might punch you in the face. You might be Will Smithed into Chris Rocked. That's a thing that could happen to you. I think that stopping people from saying things in general doesn't do much to change the world around you. But deplatforming things like, positive portrayals of eugenics is certainly something that I don't think should be platformed on places like YouTube and Facebook and shit that are pretty much unilaterally shared by all. When somebody starts spouting Nazi opinions, and by Nazi opinions, I mean like literal Holocaust denial and shit like that, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that getting deplatformed. I'm perfectly fine with that. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and the disinfectant is deplatforming it. They've said the thing. Now we know to an X. Katini, thank you for resubscribing. I greatly appreciate it. Like, these are everything wrong with asking, questions. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking questions, but in this particular scenario, it's not me wanting to censor opinions I disagree with. Also, some things aren't just opinions. Whoever wrote the definition of opinion to be like an opinion can't be wrong, I'm sorry, their opinion was wrong when they wrote that. Question 69. Nice. Why do you repeat information from scientists when you have no idea what you're talking about? Because like when you repeat information from the Bible, we tend to trust the authors who we put in positions of authority. Why would you repeat anything written in your Bible? Well, because you think that it was written by somebody with an authority in the category that you're talking about, i.e. salvation, eternal life, religion, ethics. Why would I say, why would I repeat information from a scientist? Well, if it's in the field that they're actually specialized in and their work is well accredited, there's a handful of, nuances there that have to be taken into consideration. But if they actually do meet those criteria, then it would be because they are more likely to be telling the truth. They are more likely to be supplying me with accurate information. It's their job to. If they fuck up, then they end up having their stuff cited not the way you want your work to be cited whenever you are writing your papers and going through your processes of peer review. Also, I don't repeat information merely because it's from scientists. There are scientists like Richard Dawkins who I think have fallen off the deep end in terms of the things that they say and the information they repeat. I mean, when you start having a positive portrayal of eugenics, as Dawkins has done on Twitter, when you start engaging in J.K. Rowling's TERF manifesto positively, again, something Richard Dawkins has done, then a scientist who is also a figurehead in the atheist community is probably the last person I'll be repeating information from, especially when it is information that is not within his specific fields of biology and memes. But let's go ahead and continue with the next question that probably misunderstands atheists. Why do you believe something can come from nothing? So, personally, I don't. But the words something and nothing are very interesting here. So when you say something came from nothing, what do you mean? Winddragon, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Surfcraft. What is your definition of nothing? Bearing in mind that once you define nothing, it ceases being nothing. I don't think anybody actually has a stable definition of nothing, as we work most of our definitions of things based on comparisons. Nobody has ever seen nor experienced nothing. Ever. There has not been a point in time where that has ever happened with any human being. If we move into why do I believe something came from nothing, I don't think anybody has enough of an understanding of nothing to even ask that question nor answer it. However, my personal belief is as matter and energy and the like can't really be created, destroyed, are for the most part eternal. And even our models for the Big Bang don't have matter and energy being created. They're all condensed into an infinitely small space, and then they expand in the Big Bang. So it's more that I believe that things that are compressed in small spaces expand whenever the compression has been let go. So, I've seen springs work. That's about as far as I need to go with that. Professor Tesla, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. How do you rationalize the belief that something can come from nothing? Again, I just repeat my answer to question 70. Question 72, where's your evidence that something can come from nothing? These three are the same question, worded slightly differently. Repeat my answer from question 70 again. Have you ever observed something coming from nothing? No, neither have you. But yours... okay, let's talk about projection for a second. Okay, hold on. I understand this is too quick to throw it back onto the person who's talking about this, but can I ask you a question for a second here? If I were to ask you the same question, have you ever observed something coming from nothing, you would have to answer no. And then I would have to say, then why do you believe in creation? The story of the Bible is literally the story of something coming from nothing. And yet, in a matter of ultimate projection, the arguments here that are presented are all arguments that, when turned around to the biblical view, show that it has just as many problems. But okay. Well, let's go ahead and go to question 74. Can you believe something without evidence? Everybody can believe something without evidence. It's called being irrational. And all human beings have some form of irrationality. Yeah, people can do that. It's not logical, but it is how most of us operate 99% of the time. Question 75. Do you believe in extraterrestrials? So my belief in extraterrestrials is not so much that I believe they do exist or they don't exist. I don't know. I believe that with the amount of space in the universe and the amount of planets that we have found that exist in Goldilocks zones, that have Earth-like conditions. I think the idea that there could not be, in any way, shape, or form, any creature of any variety on any planet besides our own is more than a little arrogant. The idea that only Earth can produce the conditions for life when there are, again, several Earth-like planets that we've observed, and carbon-based life is the only form of life that we've really been able to observe. I feel like the idea that they definitely do not exist is arrogance. But I also believe that the belief that they definitely do exist is a belief based on ignorance. And I'm also a believer in Clifford's principle. Question 76, do you believe in ghosts? Nope. 77. Do you believe in demigods? I'm not just an atheist, but I'm also a half atheist, so no. Do you believe in dinosaurs? I mean, yes, I've eaten chicken before. Question 79, do you believe the Earth is round or flat? I believe the Earth has a spheroid shape. Why does this matter? Do you believe in miracles? I mean, you'd have to give me a definition of a miracle. If your definition of a miracle is just an extremely unlikely event happening, then no. I mean, yes, I do. But if your definition of a miracle involves divine intervention specifically, then no, because I don't believe in the deity that would be required for the beginning of the miracle. Do you believe in anything supernatural? Not really. I've been reading a lot of H.P. Lovecraft recently, though, so I don't know. Maybe that'll change with my nightmares and my reading of the word cyclopean 50 billion times. Dear God, that man had a hard-on for that word. I don't fucking understand. Anyway, why do you accept whatever science says, no matter how ridiculous it is? I mean, what's a ridiculous thing science has said? Also, science doesn't say things. Scientists say things. But, you know, that bit of category error out of the way. It depends. Like, what thing? Like, if science says a thing and presents adequate evidence for the thing so that it can be sufficiently believable, then I don't really have much of an issue. I don't... You have to give me an example. You'd really have to give me an example of something here. And you'd have to prove that your example wasn't another straw man, which, of the 82 questions we've covered so far, makes me believe that it would be very likely that a straw man would come up. Why do you accept whatever the government says, no matter how ridiculous it is? I don't. I don't think you understand. Like, for me specifically, I'm a leftist. I do not have accurate representation in this government for me to believe everything it says, or any government for that matter. Now, when it comes to statistics, if I cannot get a hold of statistics on a certain thing, and I find statistics that are from, say, the FBI, then I'm going to still use those statistics because they are the best thing that I have access to from people with infinitely more resources than I have. That's just believing things based on the evidence. That's just me. Question 84. Do you have any friends or family members that are Christians or religious in some capacity? Oh, tons. I have Christian friends. I have Christian viewers. I have Christian family. Like, I come from a Christian family. I'm one of the few atheists. 85. If so, do you love them? Well, yeah. Like, them being a Christian doesn't mean I can't love them. I don't care about their religiosity. Question 86. Where does love come from? It depends on what you're talking about. But generally speaking, love is a chemical reaction in the brain that increases our attraction towards each other and our affection of each other and even our loyalty to a particular person. It, like all emotions, comes from chemicals in the brain. That doesn't make it any less cool. That doesn't make it any less amazing. But that does mean that we have a decent idea of what it is. It's a chemical reaction. Like most things are. Chemical reactions are cool. Is love just a bunch of chemicals reacting in your brain? Yes, but that doesn't make it any less special. Question 88. Do human beings have free will, or is everything predetermined? Okay, so this is a false dichotomy. I believe human beings do not have true free will. But I also don't believe that everything's predetermined. Determinism is its own thing. That's off in its own bucket. I believe that most of the processes that happen in our head that our actions are based off of are all based on our subconscious, which we have no control over. Shadow Wolf, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. Owl. Liskiday Babbitt, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an ada. You fucking monster. I think we have a wonderful illusion of free will based entirely on the fact that our subconscious is controlling 99% of what we are doing. There's certainly volition that we have in various actions, but I don't believe that 100% free will, pure free will, exists. And I mean, it really can't exist, because if it did, then several processes in our bodies would not happen as automatically as they do. And, well, just as an example, let me ask you for a question. Do you like the fact that you're now breathing manually? Do you enjoy that? The fact that you're now breathing manually, you're having to consciously make the decision to breathe. And it's mainly because I suggested to you that you're doing so. Now, it's not happening automatically anymore. It is happening manually, and you are having to do it. You are having to think about breathing. And doesn't that suck? Doesn't that suck? But you definitely had free will, which is why your subconscious was totally not controlling that the entire time beforehand until I made you cognizant of the fact that you could control it for a little bit. And now you can feel your tongue. That isn't your subconscious part of yourself? Absolutely. But you, as a being, your volition, your thought processes, those are not subconscious. Your subconscious is controlling those. Like I said, we have a wonderful illusion of free will. At least that's my belief. Now, determinism. That is a completely different belief, that everything in the universe is determined, that it was all fated to happen in some way, shape, or form. That is categorically separate. I don't believe in determinism. I believe in chaos. My brain stream is working on breathing on my own. 89, do animals have free will? We are animals, so please see my answers to the last question. Do animals feel pain? We are animals, so please see my answer to the last question. Number 91, do animals have souls? Well, I don't think humans have souls, so I guess not. Should animals have rights? Depends on what the rights are. I mean, we are animals as well. Yeah. Also, animals do have rights in society. Like, they're rights insofar as they are considered property in most cases. But, like, those do exist. That is a concept. Number 93, should people have rights? Yes. Like, it's kind of a, like, okay, so if we are to have a society, here's the thing. If we are to have a society where we all have to coexist in some way, shape, or form, then yes, human beings should have rights. The only time in which we do not need access to positive and negative rights is when we are all hermits on disparate parts of the world and never interact with one another ever. Are human beings animals? Yes. What? Okay, I have to ask, why are you asking this? Question number 95, does all life on Earth have a common ancestor? Yes. Question for you, do you know what a eukaryote is? I'm just curious. Do you know what a eukaryote is? 96. Where is your evidence that all life on Earth has a common ancestor? The theory of evolution and the disparate bits of evidence we have within that theory. The fact that we have been able to trace several thousand branches for the ways in which life has diversified. We even know how things like single-celled life transform into multicellular life by predatorizing as a single cell another single cell, and then instead of metabolizing that cell insofar as one could at that stage, working in tandem with one another instead. Suris, the common ancestor for all life is not a eukaryote. Oh, no, I understand that. I'm just talking about the concept of nested hierarchies in general. Like, I don't have to go to the ancestor of all life in order to talk about just a eukaryote. The fact that we all have a common typing in our branching evolution is enough. Said Sir Krabs says there's like 7 or 8 different lines of overwhelming evidence to suggest that all life has a common ancestor. Yep. So Luca wasn't even a recognizable cell, I'd guess. See here, Mirlana, you're approaching dad. Oh, that's Mirlana doing the dad jokes here. That's that. They're referring to a species-wide. They're referring to a species-wide common ancestor. So if I'm referring to a species-wide common ancestor, or not that, but like all mammals are all humans are apes, all apes are mammals, all mammals are eukaryotes. Like that's the line that I'm going down. I understand that you have to walk that line further. You have to walk that line way further to get to Luca, the last universal common ancestor. It takes you a while to get to that point. But I think just studying what a eukaryote is, just from that particular point, would blow this person's mind when they find out the amount of mechanical similarities in that all stem from just the categories of eukaryotic life. Let's go ahead and go a little further. Do you believe that human beings came from monkeys? Well, so monkey is not really a scientific definition that we use for determining animal, but we are great apes. We are. And if you believe that monkeys are a term we can use and not just like a term like fish, then by all means, yeah, we technically did come from monkeys, because monkey is a nested hierarchical term. Like, we are monkeys, we are apes, we are mammals, we are eukaryote. We are all these things. We never stopped being these things. Evolution is not one thing transforming into another disparate different thing. It is one thing adding on modifications over time. It is a change in allele frequencies that leads to change in that species over time. Also, please, person who made the video, please look at the skeleton of a bonobo. Believe me, you will be very surprised when you look at one of our closest cousins. Question 98. Do you believe that monkeys came from fish? You have used two separate, non-scientific terms when talking about biology. But okay. Okay. So let's change this to do I believe that monkeys, insofar as you can define them as a species, evolved from an aquatic species? Yes, land species evolved from aquatic species. So yet that it's just a monkey, you can tell from arbitrary reason here. Gurdar Saban, thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you for the 100 bits. Everybody in chat, please return to monkey. We didn't have these types of conversations when we were monkey. No, no, no. We talked about important things like banana. But let's go ahead and go to question 99. Do you believe that fish came from an amoeba? No. So here's the thing. Because you're using a non-scientific term where fish are concerned, and you're using amoeba, which is a specific species of life form, you are showing a misunderstanding in evolution. Everything came from a series of single-celled organisms, last common ancestors. Grand Simon, thank you for the 100 bits again. Leaving the tree was a bad idea, and nothing should have left the ocean. True. It shows, when you ask a question like this, it shows a misunderstanding of how evolution worked. Single-celled organisms had several different branches of life that came out from them. One of those branches are amoeba. One of those branches are, sea-dwelling animals. One of those branches are land-dwelling animals. But there's also a branch of land-dwelling animals that you see that come off of sea-dwelling animals because life started in the ocean. But this is like when you do the whole, do non-dogs come from dogs? When you say that, you've misunderstood what evolution is. You've misunderstood how it functions. It is not a little thing that you can go, aha, look, that's a more simple life form, therefore we must have come from that. Well, no. That insert more simple life form here, like an amoeba, that is a different type of life that had its own evolutionary journey alongside other different types of life, like humans, like, to use your term, like fish. Do dogs come from dogs, and do they go to heaven? All dogs most certainly go to heaven, and dogs do produce non-dogs all the time. Have you ever seen furries fuck? Question 100. Where did the amoeba come from? Luca, like everything else. So no, sirs, I've seen plenty. Well, you just spilled the beans about your search history. I think the word you're looking for is protozoa. You're looking for protozoa. Where did amoeba come from? Protozoa. Like, that's probably the most accurate answer I could give there, right? Maybe I'm wrong there. You expected something more, I don't know, interesting, I guess. Yeah, question 100. Where did slime Suris come from? Your deepest, darkest nightmares, the eldritch horrors of which you conceive of in your most lonely moments. From the depths of those terrible, terrible thoughts, little bits of protoplasmic slime congeal, and eventually, when enough of you have enough of those terrible cyclopean nightmares, then from those bits of congealed essence, a slime Suris is born. Get out of my dream, Suris. Can't do that. Can't do that. Were any of the last 50 actually about atheism? Nope. Not really. If you want to know why a conservative you watches Tarleson, it's the same reason I watch Ancient Aliens. To get drunk and having a shot every time he gets things wrong more than 2 levels. I cannot conceive of watching Tarleson for entertainment. Will Slime Suris activate half shut? No. Like, this dude knows there's a flat Earth believing, spirit talking, ancient science, evolution denying atheist. Jesus. Ivana says if Suris saw my dreams, I'd want to leave, or he'd want to leave. Ivana, you say that, but I have no evidence. I have no evidence of that. So, that is, and dear God, that was 53 minutes long. Holy shit. But that was the last 50 questions there for atheists. Now, most of these questions had nothing to do with atheism, but, you know, I'll take questions for atheists, I suppose. So, I guess my response to most of this that has not already been given in the video is, allow me to give you a picture of something much more relevant than any of this disparate shit. Baby. Hey. Emrakul. Ah, baby. She is still here, and she is still cute. She is adorable. And she is everything. You will worship her as though she were a fluffy god. Yeah. Cat floof. With that said, I know this was a long one, but thank you all for sticking through with it. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below, because holy shit, this was quite the undertaking. 100 questions split into 2 parts. Jesus. I think we should end with an oh my god, purple kobold. Thank you for redeeming your points for an fucking hell. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you want to support the channel and what I do, please consider checking out Patreon, where you will see vlog posts and videos of my pets and me just kind of talking about general channel shit all the time over there on the Patreon. I also may set up special like Twitter things for patrons. I might do that. I don't know. I'm uncertain, but we will see. We'll figure it out. But with that said, everybody, as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.